For years, a terrifying giant lived in the mountains above a small village. He was enormous. His footsteps shook the ground. His voice echoed through the valley. And whenever he came down from the mountain, everyone ran. Parents grabbed their children. Shopkeepers abandoned their stalls. Farmers left their fields. Within minutes, the village became silent. Then the giant would arrive and take whatever he wanted. Food, grain, chickens, sometimes even an entire goat. The villagers had tried to stop him. Their strongest warriors fought him. They lost. Hunters set traps. The giant discovered them. They even built a huge wooden gate across the village entrance. The giant smashed through it with one hand. Eventually, the villagers gave up. Whenever they heard his footsteps, they simply hid. Everyone except one child. His name was Kofi. Kofi was 12 years old and small even for his age. He wasn't strong, he wasn't a warrior, but Kofi noticed things. While everyone else ran from the giant, Kofi watched him. One afternoon, Kofi hid behind a wooden cart as the giant entered the village. The giant grabbed a basket of oranges. Suddenly, one orange rolled beneath a barrel. The giant looked around angrily. "Who stole my orange?" Kofi almost laughed. A moment later, a rooster crowed behind the giant. The giant spun around. "Who said that?" The rooster crowed again. The giant began searching behind the houses. And suddenly, Kofi understood. The giant was incredibly strong, but not very clever. That evening, Kofi went to the village elders. "I know how to defeat the giant." They laughed. "Our strongest warriors couldn't defeat him?" "I know." "Our hunters couldn't trap him?" "I know." "And you think you can?" Kofi nodded. "You keep trying to defeat his strength with strength." The elders stared at him. Kofi tapped his forehead. "We need to use this." The elders warned him that it was too dangerous. But the next morning, Kofi walked toward the mountain alone. He carried no sword, no spear, no shield. Soon he heard the familiar sound. Boom, boom, boom. The giant appeared between the trees. He looked down at Kofi. "A child?" Kofi stood still. "Everyone runs from me," the giant said. "Maybe everyone else is afraid of you." The giant laughed. "And you're not." "Why should I be?" "Because I am the strongest creature in these mountains." Kofi smiled. "No, you're not." The giant stopped laughing. "What did you say?" "I've seen another giant." The giant stared at him. "He's much bigger than you." "Bigger than me?" "Much bigger." The giant became furious. "Where is he?" "Nearby." "Show me." Kofi pretended to hesitate. Then he nodded. "Follow me." Kofi led the giant deep into the forest until they reached an old stone well. Kofi pointed toward it. "He lives down there." The giant approached the well. "Down there?" "Yes." Slowly the giant leaned over the edge. Far below, in the dark water, he saw a face, his own reflection. The giant froze. The face stared back at him. Kofi whispered, "That's him." The giant narrowed his eyes. The reflection did the same. He raised his fist. The reflection raised its fist. Then the giant roared, "Come out and fight me!" His voice traveled down the well. A moment later, the echo returned. "Fight me!" the giant gasped. "He challenges me?" Kofi nodded seriously. "It certainly sounds like it." The giant leaned farther over the well. "You think you're stronger than me?" The echo returned. "Stronger than me?" That was enough. The giant became furious. Nobody had ever dared challenge him. He climbed onto the edge of the well. Kofi quickly stepped backward. "Maybe you should leave him alone," the giant roared. "I am the strongest." And he jumped. There was an enormous splash. Then silence. Kofi waited. Nothing. He turned around and walked home. When he reached the village, everyone surrounded him. "Where is the giant?" they asked. Kofi looked toward the mountains. "He won't bother us anymore." At first, nobody believed him, but that night, the giant didn't come. A week passed, then another. The giant never returned. For the first time in years, children played outside without fear. Farmers worked peacefully, and nobody had to hide. The villagers held a great celebration for Kofi. The village elder stood before him. "You are the greatest warrior our village has ever known." But Kofi shook his head. "I am not a warrior." "Then how did you defeat something so much stronger than you?" Kofi smiled. "The giant could defeat our warriors. He could destroy our traps. He could break our gates. But he never stopped to think. And that was his weakness." From that day forward, whenever someone said they were too small, too weak, or too young to make a difference, the villagers told them the story of Kofi. If this story spoke to you, leave a like and subscribe so these African folktales continue to live on for the next generations. Until our next story, walk gently through the world, and may wisdom guide your path.